Yeah. Hey, everyone. Um, I think the session before this was very interesting. It really kind of showed the anticipation and the confusion of what AI can do. And it also showed how, as an industry, whether it's wealth management or whether it's investment management, we've been stuck for 25 years now. How many of you agree that we've been doing the same thing that we've been doing for the last 25 years? Raise your hands. We're doing the same thing. Is there a marked difference except for maybe consumer facing apps? Any change? Not much, right? Now, how many of you think that AI will change that? That's very less. Either you're sleepy or you're not excited about AI, right? How many of you think you know what it means? Hardly anyone, right? I speak to a lot of people and they say, yeah, we know AI will change everything, but we don't know how. And yet I hear people actually talking about AI and saying, I have a ChatGPT access. That's AI for me. Is that the future? Is that the true future of AI? Not really, right? So what is the future of AI? And I'm not talking about AI specifically, I'm talking about agents, right? So, and when you need it, it doesn't work. Yeah, here you go, right? So we heard a lot about agents, we heard a lot about LLMs, right? But when you talk about LLMs, you are actually in the middle here, right? Um, Historically, automation was all about something called as RPA. But from after COVID, generative AI came into picture and we saw generative AI driving conversations. But generative AI is actually dumb. It's not intelligent, it's guessing the next word. The future of AI is something called as reasoning based, where we talk about cognition, where we talk about context and judgment. What do I mean by that? The example is this. If you ask ChatGPT the same question 4 times, will you get the same answer? No, right? But if you are an enterprise, you want to make your enterprise intelligent, create a layer of AI on top and be able to take smart decisions, it has to be the same answer. It has to be deterministic. It has to be kosher for regulators to see and say, I can explain why this particular decision was taken. And that's where the future of AI is. And I'm going to show you something tomorrow. I'm not just talking about AI, but I'm going to visually show you how it will work. Because a lot of times people don't have the visual view of how AI will work, right? Why is this important? It's important because it will rewire how we work. The rewiring is important again because we heard a lot of people talk about no, humans are important, no, technology is important, maybe a combination is important, X can do something, Y can do something else. But all of that paradigm is based on the last 25, 30 years of knowledge. The future is about reimagining and rewiring, right? Institutions have data, but they're decision poor. So that's what will change, right? So when we talk about AI, we are talking about cognitive intelligence being embedded into organizations and the way they work. It's not about sending an email. It's not about communicating with someone. It's about changing the way organizations work and deliver value. Why is this important? It's important especially for financial services firms because we have legacy economics. There's a profitability ceiling. You want to double your AUM, you have to double the headcount. You have to innovate, you have to deal with your compliance teams. You want to do personalization, you need to hire extra analysts for it. All of that means that you cannot increase your profits, but you can increase your revenue, you can increase your cost, but the profitability remains the same. And AI breaks that ceiling at scale. Right? Now, there are two forks ahead from where we stand today. Either you adapt to AI and agents, or do it the old way. And previously, we used to say that, okay, if you do it the old way, you have time. In fact, I used to say that in 3 years, you will disappear. No, in 12 months, you will disappear as an organization. Because the pace of change of technology, the pace of change of adoption of technology is really crazy, right? And I hear this a lot, right? People talk about manual research and all of that. And then I hear the last point, right? We have access to ChatGPT. We have taken ChatGPT for all our employees. They can ask questions. But the key thing is this: LLMs are general intelligence. What organizations need to become intelligence is specialized intelligence. And specialized intelligence happens when agents come into the picture. And how do agents look? Agents look like this. They are SMEs, they are subject matter experts. Each agent has one particular role to play. We have 50 plus agents which are like this, which will stack up together and deliver a solution. I could take 5 agents, say for example, a portfolio construction agent, financial research agent, combine them and they will deliver a solution. I could take 3 or 4 other agents and they will deliver some other solution. And these agents are really not going to come in and replace people. Again, that's what they will do is make Tony Stark into Iron Man. So all your employees actually will become more productive, more effective, right? More science-driven, as someone was saying, knowledge-driven, right? And truly be able to add value to the customer, right? And it's going to be all over the place. It's not going to be in one area or the other. Across teams, right from the front office to the boardroom, everything will be driven by agents across products. And here's an example. I'm going to show you this example now. So how many of you are familiar in wealth management with proposal generation? Right? 4-week process, 3-week process. I said 5 days here, right? So we have agents that can deliver it in less than a minute. So imagine the velocity of the organization and the customer experience, how it changes when you move from, I said 5 here, to a minute. There are 4 or 5 members working on this to 1 person working on it and delivering it instantly. And that's the transformation that you will see across every part. So if you look at wealth management, right, and then look at, say, operations, 50% reduction in OpEx. If you look at research, 30 to 40% reduction in the cost of research, velocity increases. So every part, whether it's investment committee, product strategy, sales and relationships, right? We just heard someone saying 250 people work in the product teams. The future is really not that. The future is going to be much less, doing much more, right? And this is how it will look. You still have the front office, middle office, back office. You still have this relationship management, product advisory, investment committee, client reporting. But all of that will have agents who sit next to human beings and deliver value across the 3 areas. This is wealth management. So investment management obviously is a bit different, but you see the same thing, right? You have front office investment, sales and distribution, operations and risk. All these areas will have agents which will disrupt how we operate today. With this, I'm going to just stop the deck. I'm going to show you this thing, show how this works. But I hope, and the idea is to not scare everyone that agents are coming, but they'll help you become better. Yeah. So I'm going to just show you something. So do you recognize this, anyone? This is a transaction history. It's actually worse than that. So it's raw data, statement account, right? So you get, typically customers would throw this in at you and say, can you tell me if I'm doing well or better, right? Normally what happens when you get this, when the RM gets this? There's something called a ticker here. The analyst actually goes in physically, verifies everything. They try to figure out what has happened, right? That's where the ticker, the time actually starts coming in. So now what I'm going to do is just drop it into my agent container, okay? And the agent should start reading the information, analyzing the information. So we have about 12 to 14 agents. I'm going to show you a complete workflow where 12 to 14 agents behind the scenes are actually working. Right. And I'm really hoping that you'll go away today with new imagination on how agents will really look in the future, right? So can you see the metadata here? So it's basically, it took about 33 seconds. It went through almost 12,000 data points from that raw data and did an analysis. So what is that analysis? That analysis is the complete current portfolio of the customer, right? Right from the total investments, market value, XIRR, the asset allocation, to the last leaf, how the asset classes have performed. All of this completely real time, right? Normally, this takes weeks, if not days, right? It also has done a look back on the performance and given you all the risk metrics, everything. Now, I can just go and ask it, can you give me overview of this portfolio, right? And what used to take weeks of conversations between product teams, customer, relationship manager, everything just becomes minutes and seconds, right? And completely deterministic, meaning you'll get the same answer every time. Explainable, meaning the regulator can ask you a question and you can audit and say, hey, this is the reason why we did it. LLMs are black box AI, meaning you don't know why a particular decision has taken. Can you just read it, guys? I'll give you a few seconds. And I can ask any question, lonely. I can say, hey, I would like income from this. What should I do? I would like these kind of returns. What should I do? Imagine a relationship manager or a banker who's sitting in front of a customer doing this. So we've built this not for the customer, but for the frontline sales, for the entire organization. So they get enabled with this, right? I can go on forever, but I'm going to just stop here because I want to show you something else, right? Now, let's go back to analyze portfolio here. So we know the current portfolio, right? That's only the first step of a proposal generation process. I could then go in, plug in the portfolios of individual wealth managers, select the portfolio, and you have an asset allocation. And we were talking about multi-asset class allocation. All of that gets covered now, right? It could be multi-jurisdiction, it could be multi-asset class, all of that automatically covered. But then once this is given, you get a comparison. That tells you, hey, what should you buy? What should you sell? All of this is being done by AI agents. I could turn around and say, hey, can you compare Amit's portfolio with aggressive portfolio? Give me actions and reasons. I normally get people saying, why is it so slow? Can it be faster? We are like, this is fast enough. So here you go. Do you see this? So you see, for example, large cap holding, what is the current situation, what is the target, the reason. This represents the most critical gap in your portfolio. Large cap equity forms the core foundation of the aggressive strategy, providing growth potential with relative stability. And then it explains why it's recommending this. We support US and India. This is India, this thing, right? India, US markets as well as India market. So it's not only telling you exactly what to do, it's giving you why and the reasoning. And imagine an advisor or a RM reading all this, right? It's quite amazing actually. Let's do another thing. Let's say, hey, can you make a client presentation out of this? Okay, that was faster. And here you go. So you have an entire client deck, but it also includes macro outlook. Where did that come from? So we have a macro agent which is running in the background, and that pushed its macro analysis. So multiple agents, just like Legos, they start pushing the information. You get the recommendations, and they get embedded. Your investment objectives, the portfolio overview, the analysis, and interestingly, in our case, what we also do is you can make all this, I can edit this. Right. And this is just one workflow. There are 12 to 14 agents that are working behind the scenes here to deliver this. So we have like 50 to 60 agents. We expect a financial institution eventually to have 200 to 250 agents to cover the front office, the middle office, the back office in wealth. If it's investment management, it's different. So the days of looking at AI and saying it can write an email for me, it can communicate for the customer for me, are still very, very, I would say, small use cases. We are talking about changing the nervous system and the thought process of organizations. We are talking about rewiring the organizations. That's where AI will head to. I can go on forever, but this one workflow hopefully gives you a good clarity on how AI will change things, how AI will disrupt everything that you know about this industry. Even if you have been in this industry for 20 years, you have to reset yourself and get ready for what's coming. Thank you. Yes, that's why it will be completely customized. It will be completely aligned with the house view, not just in terms of the view on markets, but also the language. Right? It will feel like you are talking, the house. That's the level at which it will operate.
And I want you to know, these were done absolutely spontaneously here.
Yeah.
Amit was the name you thought of right now here.
Yeah. What?
And the instructions that give me an aggressive portfolio, were all those things
It's
decided?
all live.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's all
okay. Actually, you should have let one of us
ask the questions. Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
it would have turned into a magic show. So the way they keep doing. Anyway, thank you,
Sure.
Nitin.
Yeah.
This was nothing short of magic. A wonderful of you. And just to let you know, Nitin is based in Dubai. So those of you who would want to know more about his particular product, you're welcome to get in touch with him. So thank you, Nitin, for making this very interesting presentation.
The pleasure is mine. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, we'll take a break now, a coffee break. It's about 3:16 now. Let's come back by 3:30.